Morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. And welcome to Morning Joe with me, Jim, with my, if you're a Severance fan, with my cup. Uh, so, this is what we do Tuesday through Friday. Just little tips, right? Just updates, tips on the housing market, on purchasing a home or managing that debt, right? So, I have something very interesting this morning, which I found very interesting, and I hope you do too. Um, and that is two data points, right? Two data points about the housing market. Are we in a housing bubble, right? We see that all the time. I don't know if you do. If you're attuned to the housing market, you probably do. And therefore, if you're thinking about housing, thinking about buying a house, then you're probably attuned to all the, everywhere you look these days. There's the headlines, right? Are we in a housing bubble? When's the crash coming? What? And then if you read the article, almost in every case, it says the opposite. Well, no, the headlines grab you, but then the article itself says, "Yeah, we're probably not in a housing bubble," which I think, I get it. Um, that's the way the news media works, right? You gotta grab someone. If it bleeds, it leads. The housing market currently in a bubble. This is what a bunch of experts say. 60% say no, 8% aren't sure, and 30% do say yeah, probably. And there is an argument that we could be, but man, it would have to be a perfect storm, which generally doesn't happen. But here's the arguments that we're not, and I think this is much more weighty. And I can talk about the other perfect storm if you want later. Low housing inventory is causing prices to rise. So that's what we've said before, and I can go over that. Maybe tomorrow I'll go over that. There's a demographic shift, uptick, right? There's households being formed, and that will continue to rise over the next few years. At the same time, we don't have enough housing to meet the demand. So it's a supply and demand issue. That's all it is, right? So, 4 years of the housing crash, 2007 through 2010, this is how many months supply we had of homes. 9 to 11, right? Somewhere 8 to 11. This is how many months supply of homes we have right now. Now, of course, this is national, right? And you can see it's decreasing. Well, it's increased a little bit, 0.1%, but it's really nowhere near what it needs to be to meet demand at the moment. And it'll take a while to get there. But then here's the other side. Mortgage lending standards today are nothing like the last time. We know that, right? Last time, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a mortgage. I mean, let's face it, 560 credit, 100% financing, stated income, NINA, right? That was a term back then. No income, no employment, no asset, no employment. None of that exists anymore. I will talk about a bank statement loan. Sometimes you don't need tax returns if you're self-employed, but what you do need is a hefty down payment, 20% plus reserves. So it's like you're one way or another, you got skin in the game, right? And Fannie Mae came out just Sunday, this past Sunday, and tightened their standards yet again, right? So Fannie Mae has this automated underwriting system that all lenders use, and we need an approve eligible, that's their term, in order to do the loan, and they've tightened that a little bit. Even FHA, with lower credit scores, I'm still getting a lot of FHA approvals. Stop sharing. A lot of FHA approvals, but with lower credit scores, I'm not getting them without at least 1 month's reserve, which didn't happen before. I mean, I almost never needed that. These days, 1 to 2 months reserve. So reserves is just whatever that projected monthly payment is, sitting in the bank account that stays in the bank account that you don't bring to closing. It's that simple. But if you have money in the bank after closing, I get an easier approval on FHA. Never happened before. I mean, FHA was always, if you can squeak in with just enough, you're good. Everything's tightening a little bit, and it has been for a while. We can still get approvals. We just have to plan it and plan ahead, right? Like yesterday, one quick story. Yesterday, I spoke with a young woman who wants to buy a home, and she said, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready. So we made an application, and now we set a plan. She said, I want to buy within 6 months. I said, that's perfect. That's great. That's what you should be doing, right? Let's make sure you're there. And she wasn't. She is with reserves and the down payment and everything saved. She's fine there. She does need a little bit of working credit. We could do the loan, but man, it's a much better interest rate and just easier approval and everything if we work in credit low. And we have time now. And now we know what to do. She has a plan. And she's like, yes, I'm going to do this. And she will, I have no doubt. But that's the way I would approach the housing market right now. If you're in doubt at all, give yourself time. Let's set a plan together and get you there, right? So those are the two data points. Housing, there's low inventory, therefore housing prices are supported. And lending standards are not what they were back in the crash. So everyone's got equity, in other words, in their home. No one's going to let that go easily. So I think no housing crash, but definitely a strong housing market. It's just balancing out, and we needed that. Have an awesome Tuesday. And if I can help with a pre-approval, let me know.